Another day here. Another day of spoilers for Zendikar Rising. We are in the day 9 of the spoiler season. Let's start. Smite Demonstress 3 and 1 white. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Core Celebrant 2 and 1 white. It's a 1/4. Whenever Core Celebrant or another creatures enter the battlefield under your control, gain 1 life. Tazim Roll Mage 1 and 1 blue. It's a 2/1. Kicker 4. If it's kicked, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Skyclave Squid 1 and 1 blue. It's a 3/2. It is defender, it has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it can attack. Deliberate 1 and 1 blue, Sky 2, then draw a card. Marauding Blight Priest 2 and 1 black, it's a 3/2. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Nimana Sky Dancer 2 and 1 black, it's a 2/1. Flash, flying. When enters the battlefield, target opponent mills 2 cards. Tuk Tuk Rabble Fort 2 and 1 red, it's a 0/3. Defender reach, creatures you control have haste. Strength of Solidarity 1 green. Choose target creature you control, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature in your party. Shatterskull Minotaur 4 and 2 red, it's a 5/4. The spell costs 1 less for each creature in your party. Thundering Spark Mage 3 and 1 red, it's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Kargan War Leader 1 and 1 red and 1 white, it's a 3/3. Other warriors you control get +1/+1. This is a warrior lord. Relic Amulet 2. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery or wizard spell, put a charge counter on Relic Amulet. 2 and tap, remove all charge counters from Relic Amulet. It deals that damage to target creature. Relic Veil, it's a 3, it's an artifact. 2 and tap, sacrifice a creature, draw a card. As long as you control a cleric, Relic Veil has whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Relic Golem, it's a 3, artifact creature golem, it's a 6/6, can't attack or block unless an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. 2 tap, target player mills 2 cards. Relic X 2, artifact equipment. When Relic X enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equip creatures get +1/+1. If it's a warrior, get +2/+1 instead. Equip 2. Shatterskull Charger 1 and 2 red, it's a 4/3. Kicker 2, Trample Haste. If it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. At the beginning of your end step, return Shatterskull Charger to its owner's hand unless it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Nibble Trapfinder 1 and 1 blue, this is the first rare card. It's a 2/1 human rogue. Can't be blocked if you had another cleric, rogue, warrior or wizard enters the battlefield under your control this turn. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control gain. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card until end of turn. It's a very interesting rare card. It's a 2-drop and it's a very interesting, especially if you're playing the party mechanic. Null Priest of Oblivion 1 and 1 black. It's a 2/1. Kicker 3 and 1 black. It has menace, it has lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Verazor Parter of the Currents X 1 green and 1 blue. 0/0 enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. Whenever you cast a kicked spell, you may remove 2 +1/+1 counters from it. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Myriad Construct 4, it's a 4/4, Kicker 3. If it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each non-basic lands your opponent controls. When it becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it and create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact creatures tokens equals to its power. Basically, if this creature has a power of 4, if it dies, it will create 4 1/1 colorless construct artifact creatures. If this creature has more than 4, when it dies, it will create that much 1/1 construct artifact creatures tokens. It's a very interesting artifact card. Throne of Makindi, this is a rare land. Tap for 1 colorless. 1 and tap, put a charge counter of Throne of Makindi. Tap, remove a charge counter from Throne of Makindi. Add 2 mana of any 1 color. Spend this mana only to cast kicked spell. So this is a very interesting land card only if you're going to play kicked mechanic. Carix the Raging Isle 2 and 2 blue. This is a very interesting creature, legendary creature Venting Crab. This is a 0/17. Yes, you heard me well, you're seeing well, this is a 0/17. As soon as I saw this creature, I thought, what the F? 0/17. And does not have defender, therefore it can attack. Spells your opponent Cast the target cards cost 2 more to cast. 3. It gets plus X minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control. Let's imagine you have this creature in play and you have 4 lands. Therefore, if you pay the 3, this will be 413. If you have, let's say, 7 islands, this will be 710. So, it is a very good defender. It's very difficult to have creatures that can deal more than 17 damage, unless they have some sort of double strike or Ember Cleave, but it will be very difficult to have someone deal that much of damage. So it's a very good defender, but also can be a very good in attacking. At first, when you saw a 0-17 creature, you think it has defender, but it doesn't have defender. Very interesting card, 0-17. Now, this is a set. There are a couple of cards spoiled today regarding the Commander pre-constructed sets that will come with Zendikar Rising. Zendikar Rising will have 2 Commander sets. This is one of them. And one of the rare cards is Trove Warden, 2 and 2 white. It's a 3/4 Vigilance Landfall. When land enters the battlefield under you control, exile target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. When it dies, put each permanent card exiled with it on the battlefield under your control. Enigma Thief, 5 and 2 blue. It's a 5/5 Sphinx Rocks. It has Sprawl, 3 and 1 blue. What's Sprawl? You may cast the spell for its Sprawl cost if dealt damage to a player this turn with a Sphinx or Rogue. So if a Sphinx or Rogue deals damage, you can cast the spell instead of 7, and you can cast it in 4. When it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, return up to 1 target non-land permanent that players controls to its owner's hand. Whisper Still Dagger for 2 and 1 black equipment. Equipped creature get +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may cast a creature spell from that player's graveyard this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast the spell. Equip 3. Geode Rager, 4 and 2 red. It's a 4/3 First Strike. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, goad each creature target player controls. That means until your next turn, those creatures attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. One of the 2 mythics cards, Obun Muldaya Ancestor, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 white. It's a 3/3 legendary creature, Elf Spirit. The beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target land you control becomes an XX elementary creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is Obun power. It's still a land. Landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. One of the commanders, Unwon, the Ruin Thief, 2, 1 blue and 1 black. It's a 2/4. Other rogues you control get +1/+1. Whenever 1 or more rogues you control deals combat damage to a player, the player mills a card for each 1 damage dealt to them. If a player mills at least 1 creature card this way, you draw a card. So these were all the spoilers, the cards spoiled for Zendikar Rising, including the Commander sets that will come with Zendikar Rising. Stay tuned to my channel for more and more spoilers of Zendikar Rising and more news about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.